my great pleasure to introduce you to our next guest. He is the National Director of the National Black Pro-Life Caucus and the pastor of the Bible Church in Ypsilanti, Michigan. Reverend Levon Yuille is a fearless advocate for the rights of the unborn, and he can be heard on his radio program, Joshua's Trail, every Saturday on WDTK 1400 in Detroit and WHAM 1600 in Ann Arbor. His tireless work in the pro-life movement has earned him a distinguished award, the Right to Life of Michigan Lifetime Achievement Award. He has recently become a favorite Tea Party speaker, and it's my pleasure to introduce to you Dr. Elder Levon Yuille.
God bless you. It's good to be here today. It's always wonderful to gather with folks of like mind. It's always a great privilege to be able to speak to folks who love and appreciate the greatest nation on the face of the globe. We stand breathing the wonderful air here in the United States of America. And I most certainly thank God that I am a citizen of this great nation. So often it's my privilege to remind folks as a black man that I'm particularly thankful that the men who laid the foundation of this nation had a mind and a mindset to know that slavery was not compatible with many of the things that they believed in. And people like Thomas Jefferson, who wrote a stinging indictment against the institution of slavery when he was composing the Declaration of Independence, let King George III know, who was mandating slavery on these shores, that this was something unacceptable to the people that were laying the foundation for this country. Even folks like Ben Franklin, who has been famous for so many things, but very seldom you hear that he was the president of the Anti-Slavery Society. When you think about folks like John Quincy Adams, one of the founding fathers, who gave such a passionate speech against the institution of slavery, till on the floor where he was delivering the speech, he had a stroke, and a few days later he died. But those are the kind of individuals who've made America the greatest melting pot nation in the history of the world. And I believe today we're here for good cause to make certain that this remains the greatest nation on the face of the globe. There's some things that are happening in America. Most certainly they trouble me, and I know it troubles many of you. There are those of us who still embrace Judeo-Christian values, and we believe in the ethnic attitude of hard work and achieving things you work for. And I've stood in the last few decades, and I've watched things happen in our nation that most certainly is troubling to me. And in the last election, something most certainly was troubling to me. When I got up the day after the election and heard who was elected, I got trouble. Because I knew before he ran that that was not the person I wanted to lead me in America. But here we are, and we've got to deal with what we've got. When I think about this individual, I think about a biblical story. And it goes on this wise, and I won't be long, but you would expect a preacher to go somewhere to go through all of that. But I think of a biblical story, and it goes this way, and Pharaoh commanded the same day the taskmasters of the people and their officers, saying, Ye shall no more give the people straw to make brick, as theretofore. Let them go and gather straw for themselves. And the quota of bricks, which thou did make hithertofore, ye shall lay them not upon their shoulder, but diminish them. For they be idle, therefore they cry, saying, Let us go and sacrifice to our God. The children of Israel wanted to be free. They wanted to direct their affairs according to the dictate of their own heart. They sought the right to be free. From the oppression of Pharaoh, they cried, I want to be free. They wanted to be liberated. They wanted to control their resources. Well, when I began to assess the individual that now leads this nation, I see some parallels between him and Pharaoh. But alas, you know, the children of Israel, their request was dashed. And what they were anticipating getting, they didn't receive. They wanted to be alleviated from their problems, but when they left Pharaoh's presence, they did not find that they had hope and change. In 2008, Pharaoh B.O. came to promise the taxed and oppressed masses open change. He declared a new day was about to dawn, There would be something similar to a chicken in every pot. I think it looks more like a sparrow now, but he did promise a chicken in every pot. He said he would reach across the aisle and bring forth a new day in this oppressed land of 4.7 unemployment. Boy, I wish I had George Bush's 4.7 again. Pharaoh B.O. promised to close Gitmo and to bring our wars to an end. But would you believe it? Someone forgot to tell the enemies he was going to do that. Not only he did not do that, but now we've been in this war of the lesser of two evils. Well, regardless of how we might feel about the person in office when it comes to the wars, we've always got to remember to give God great thanks and show great appreciation to the men and women that go and fight for this great nation so that we can enjoy the liberties we now enjoy. And there is an issue that had many Americans upset and concerned when Pharaoh B.O. came on the scene. It was national debt. And along with the national debt, there was this matter of great concern: taxes, taxes, and more taxes. When it comes to taxes, the former Congressman J.C. Watts is quoted as saying, "The American family is already overtaxed." Right now, the average family spends about half of every dollar they make trying to earn a living. And J.C. Watts made this observation: a child that is 5 years old now, by the time that he reaches 25 years old, 84% or 84 cents out of every dollar will go toward taxes. I share the words of J.C. Watts. He said, "This is more than a shame, it's a scandal." I agree. Even from the founding fathers, as early as 19, Justice John Marshall declared, "The power to tax is the power to destroy." But as we rush on and get out of your way, we know that Pharaoh B.O. came and he most certainly promised the masses that he would alleviate the tax burden. He would bring a new day to America. Many of the people said, "Yay, yay, Pharaoh has arrived." And as Pharaoh continued in office, he said, "I'm going to solve your financial problem," and he gave us a stimulus bill. And then he said, "Okay, after I solve your problem with the stimulus bill, I'm going to give you health care." And regrettably, there were still some individuals who were in awe of his articulating abilities, and they said, "Brilliant, brilliant." But a few days later, when some individuals stopped saying "brilliant, brilliant," and began to read some of the documents that he told us he didn't have time for us to read, like health care and the stimulus bill, they didn't have time to read. People start discovering, "Pharaoh, you haven't told us the truth. You've told us a harsh and untruthful, and we can't endure this." But Pharaoh was hard. Even in 2010, when America rose up and went to the poll in great numbers and told them, "We are repudiating your stand. We are turning our backs on what you have promised. We want something better." Pharaoh B.O. still decided, "I am king now." Matter of fact, when the Supreme Court told me to drill in Louisiana, I told them no. When the Supreme Court told me to protect the right of a family to be represented by a man and a woman, and for my Attorney General to defend it, I told them no. Pharaoh B.O. seems like he runs things just like he feels like running them. But as I get out of your way, I know I have compared the Pharaoh B.O. with Pharaoh, but I'm closing out by saying we ought to tell Pharaoh B.O., this is not Egypt, this is America. The land of George Washington, the land of John Jay, a land where the people have a right and have always demanded that their elected representatives hear. So we're going to send a message loud and clear until he hears it. This is not Egypt. We are free. We breathe free air. We know how to read. We know how to stand for right. And so we're going to declare with a resounding voice, thank God for America, and thank God this is not Egypt.